eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Dozens of people are without a home after an apartment building caught fire in Hazard Friday night. But were they all in a safe place to live prior to the fire? WYMT's Chandler Wilcox investigates.
Tenants in the white apartment building that caught on fire were evacuated by Hazard police. Those living in the Treehouse building, also owned by Carter Realty and Associates, had to be evacuated as well. There are now questions about the building's stability prior to the fire. The Public Protection Cabinet issued a stop work order back in March, and they even put this label on the door as a warning.
Now, there was rumors about like it wasn't supposed to be open, and we asked them about it, and they said it was just that lady next door just trying to start trouble.
Piper and Stamper lost their home in the flood. The next month, they saw a post from Carter Realty about available apartments in the Treehouse building. They decided to take a chance on it just to find a home, and they say the building was not furnished like they were led to believe. But Piper and Stamper felt like they did not have a choice.
At first, yeah. I mean, it felt all right. It felt like a home.
You know, after the flood, anything would feel like a home.
Now the couple is without a home once again, along with other families, and they have no desire to return. Building landlord Brian Carter told WYMT the Treehouse building itself is among the safest and most secure buildings that you're going to find anywhere in this town. Tenants will, meanwhile, be housed in a nearby hotel through this week. In Hazard, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, we reached out to the Public Protection Cabinet to see if it is legal to rent out the Treehouse building. It's where a restaurant used to be. If you know Hazard history, that's why it's called the Treehouse building. It used to be called the Treehouse Cafe. We again reached out to the Public Protection Cabinet to see if it is legal to rent out that building. They have not yet responded. We now know the arrangements for a Harlan County teen that was killed in an ATV crash during the weekend. 14-year-old Timothy Hickson's visitation will be on Wednesday from 5 till 8 p.m. at Mount Pleasant Funeral Home in Harlan. Hickson's funeral will be Thursday at 3 p.m. That also taking place at Mount Pleasant Funeral Home. Hickson was again only 14 years old. We continue to learn more about a police officer shot in Carter County earlier this afternoon. The officer was shot and rushed to a hospital in Huntington, West Virginia. The shooting happened on Scott Street in Olive Hill. The suspect is still on the loose, and state police have issued a shelter-in-place order for anyone in downtown Olive Hill, along Mill Street, Tom T. Hall Boulevard, and Route 2. Now, we understand the police officer that was shot was alert and talking immediately after this incident. We haven't heard a condition recently. The governor just a short time ago posted a statement on social media asking for prayers and said he and the First Lady were praying for his full recovery. We'll, of course, keep an eye on this. Again, this is happening in Olive Hill, where a police officer was shot this afternoon. We'll continue to update the story on WYMT.com and, of course, have the latest as we get it. A Lexington man is behind bars accused of groping a woman and assaulting 2 officers on UK's campus. Mark Lindsay was arrested yesterday. He's facing a list of charges, including assault and sexual abuse. His citation says he grabbed a woman beneath her skirt, then threw a bottle at a man who tried to intervene. Officers say he attacked them when they arrived. He's facing 9 charges total. An employee of the Budget Host Inn in London was arrested last weekend on multiple drug charges. Officials responded to a complaint at the motel after learning that an inmate at the Laurel County Detention Center was calling an employee of the motel. The London Police Department says the caller told the employee there was a container of methamphetamine left in one of the rooms and that she could keep it without facing legal issues. Police found 47-year-old Sheila Campbell of London, who told them she would turn over the meth. But later, police noticed Campbell trying to hide a backpack. During a search of that backpack, officers found several things, including supposed marijuana and glass pipes. She was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center and is facing multiple charges. Officials in Montgomery County are investigating a concerning discovery. People reported finding flyers in their front yards containing KKK propaganda. Police in Mount Sterling say the flyers were left on cars. Social media posts during the weekend claimed the flyers were also found in Paris in Bourbon County. One man who lives in the Mount Sterling area says he still feels safe despite the issues, but the president of the Lexington Fayette NAACP says people should be concerned.
The seed has been planted. You don't know who else has saw that. And just because this wasn't an indirect action, it could lead to direct action, violence or violent activities.
Whitaker says people should report any incidents like this to authorities, but they should be taking other steps as well if they wish to enact change.
Nice sunshine continues out there this afternoon after a rather overcast day as we've headed into the evening. More sunshine, just a few of those clouds working in. Temperatures back up near 70 here into parts of Perry County. The view from our Pikeville Medical Center camera, they're back under the clouds at this point. 68 there in Pikeville. You can see in middle and upper 60s into parts of the Big Sandy, into parts of Southwest Virginia. Elsewhere where they've seen a little bit more of the sunshine today, low 70s out there. So it's felt like an early spring day versus a late spring day out there. Your forecast first through the next 12 hours. If you're still in the 70s, you'll be there for the next couple of hours, mid-60s by mid-evening, falling back into the 50s as we head into the morning hours. Even some upper 40s can't be ruled out in some of the valley locations, along with some of that patchy fog. We'll talk about that in a little bit, and also the chance for a few more showers before the week's out. It's early in the week. I'll continue to break it down in just a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. Strong to severe storms certainly blew through parts of the region yesterday. The winds knocked down trees, caused some problems with hail, and left some without power in parts of Pulaski County. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to several folks who dealt with the extreme weather yesterday and were inspecting and cleaning up the damage today.
Trees fell on several homes in Pulaski County Sunday, and Monday was a big cleanup day.
I mean, we got a lot of damage. We got roof damage, our patio's damaged, our vehicles are damaged from the hail.
Hail damaged part of her car, and on Lake Point Drive, it riddled the side of this house. People say the sight and sound of the system that spawned it was simply scary.
A train or something just coming down the road. It was horrible.
But local emergency management officials say this was not a tornado, but strong winds did take down numerous tree limbs all along Patterson Branch Road.
We were watching out the window, and then all of a sudden we hear this really loud, and it was just black. You couldn't see anything out the windows whatsoever.
People who live in this area say this was something like they have never experienced. They say they have lived in this area for decades and never had anything quite like this happen to this area. Okay. Many took to the basements or other safe zones.
But it was really, really bad. I never saw that in my life, ever.
Yes, I'm very overwhelmed, as you can tell. I didn't sleep much last night.
The storm did cause some minor flooding and left some without power. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Pulaski County emergency officials say no injuries were reported from the storm. With the Corbin City Pool being back open, there's now a local place for swim groups to practice. The swim group, the Piranhas, raised $80,000 to buy a dome to go over the pool in the colder months. Paul Dole, whose community partnership sponsors multiple swim groups, says it's been difficult having to borrow others' communities' pools.
We look forward to having a lot of kids being able now to really practice, because it's always been hit and miss. We've had to borrow a pool down in Williamsburg and around, sometimes couldn't swim all the time. And it's important that they get consistency in being able to practice.
The summer leg swim group practiced at the Corbin City Pool for the first time this morning. It's a time of celebration in Whitley County after this year's team won the school's first baseball state championship. But for one colonel, there's just as much to celebrate off the field. WYMT's Jack Demler explains.
the sound of excitement after making history and winning the state championship.
Anytime that you get to do something for the first time that's never been done before, it's great. I mean, you can see that through the community and how many people supported us.
But for third baseman R.J. Osborne, history was not just made on the field.
They called me at about 7:30 in the morning, so I didn't really know what was going on. I just woke up, and I was just real excited.
R.J. was appointed to be the third student in history to be a non-voting member of the Kentucky State Board of Education, something his mom, who also happens to be his principal, believes is a great opportunity.
Just, as a principal, Frankfort can seem a long way away, but I think it's very important to know that even in southeastern Kentucky, our students need to be engaged in their government because it does affect their everyday lives.
From state champ to state board.
This is just the start of R.J. Osborne and the many opportunities that he's going to provide through his hard work, his dedication, and just the type of person he is.
R.J. is making his name known and his voice heard. In Whitley County, Jack Demler, WYMT Mountain News.
And certainly congratulations to him. Osborne will serve 1 year on the board with his term starting on July 1st. The USDA is investing more than $43 million toward high-speed internet here in Kentucky. In a release sent to WYMT this afternoon, the People's Rural Telephone Cooperative Corporation Incorporated says it will use a grant worth more than $9 million and a loan worth more than $9 million to deploy a fiber to the premises network to provide high-speed internet. The network will benefit more than 2,400 folks, 32 businesses, and 72 farms in Breathitt and Lee counties.